Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Jai Radha Damodar ji ki, Hare Ram, Jai Damodar Mas ki. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Jai Radha Madan Mohan, Jai Radha Govinda Ji ki, Jai Radha Gopinath ki, Vrindavan Dham ki, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Sudha Prabhu ki, Krishna Krishna, Hare Bol, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jai Shri Hari Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Holy name, Hare Rama, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan Yajna ki, Jai Shri Damodar Yatra ki, Jai Shri Damodar Kartik Maas ki. Thank you, Monica Mataji and Prabhu. Thank you very much for having us here. No, really very happy. There's no problems, right, having it in the function room? Okay. I just wanted to be sure for you. Then it's fine. Okay. So it's a Diwali function, right? Yeah. And all these are prayers anyway, so that's fine. Very good. Thank you, Prabhu, so much for having us over. I was taking darshan of the deities Radha and Krishna, and they're very beautiful. What are their names? Do they have a specific name? Radha? Radha Vallabha. Jai. Very nice. Very beautiful deities. Thank you. So today we are gathered here on the very auspicious month of Damodar, and we are just going to take this time to spend a bit of time remembering this beautiful pastime of Lord Damodar. In this month we will hear the pastime many times. But the test of your Krishna consciousness and your taste will be determined by how well we can hear it. It is stated in the material world that anything that you speak which is material, after a while it becomes very tiring. But actually it is also stated in Shastra that whenever we speak about Krishna, because Krishna is Navam, he is ever fresh, then whatever we speak about Krishna, no matter how many times we speak about it, by right, by Shastra, we should feel fresh. We should feel fresh. Sometimes the mind will tell you, it's the same thing. I know already. Before he finishes, I know. Before she finishes, we know. But it doesn't matter. We have to go past the mind and we have to use our intelligence. We have to use our intelligence to tell the mind that mind, no matter how many times you've heard it, you have not really relished it. So therefore, my Guru Maharaj always told us that when you want to hear anything about Krishna, please don't hear it with your ears. Don't hear it with your mind or your intelligence, but hear it with your heart. If you hear something with your heart, then even if it appears repetitive, you will still be able to get something from it. Because only the names of Krishna and the pastimes of Krishna are ever fresh. They are known in Bhagavatam as Maha Utsavam. It is a perpetual festival for the mind, and it dries up the ocean of misery which is in our hearts. So therefore, sometimes it is a practice, just like everything else. Krishna says in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that the mind is very difficult. It is turbulent, it is chanchal, but with practice and detachment, one can learn to control the mind. In the same way, we may not be in the situation where we are having very pure devotional sentiments for Krishna. We are struggling. But in our struggle, if we try to remember Krishna to the best that we can, Krishna will eventually give us taste. This is a very important thing. Krishna wants to see our endeavor. That no matter how many times we hear it, we may be tired, but we are endeavoring. That endeavor becomes the basis of Krishna's reciprocity with us actually. That is very important. And this whole Leela of Damodar pastime is actually about endeavor. There are so many themes to this pastime depending on how you look at it, but one of the important themes today we want to concentrate on is the principle of endeavor. And in 284 of Srimad Bhagavatam, this endeavor is given very nicely by Shukadeva Goswami. Shranavataha Shraddhaya Nityam Granatascha Swachestitam Kalena na atidirgena Bhagavan Vishate Hriddhi. So this verse is very important because it tells us that Krishna will appear in our hearts in no time at all if we are eager to hear about him. Right? Shranavataha means to hear. Shraddhaya means in earnestness, with eagerness. The more eager we try to hear about Krishna, the more eagerly we try to receive Krishna, the more Krishna will appear in our hearts quicker. And he doesn't appear in our hearts just, in the form of a Lord, but he appears in our heart as taste for Krishna. This is very important. Krishna makes his appearance in the form of rasa, in the form of taste, which is not different from Krishna actually. But the way to do it is to do it with your endeavor. Just like Prabhu and Mataji made so much endeavor today, just to get the function hall, to prepare all this, all for the pleasure of Krishna and his devotees. That is endeavor. So therefore, Mother Yashoda did the same thing in this pastime. On the morning of Diwali, she dressed up very nicely, Bhagavatam says. But after dressing up very nicely, most people don't want to get into labor. If you want to be working hard, you don't dress well first, right? You dress normal and then you sweat it out and then you dress well. Mother Yashoda dressed very well because whenever we are presenting ourselves for a service, we should be very pakka. We should be very nice and very presentable. So that's the first thing she did. She presented herself very nicely. Then the second thing Mother Yashoda did was, she looked around and all her maid servants on Diwali day were all busy, and they were busy doing other services. But the primary service that was to be done was to actually churn milk so that it becomes butter for Krishna and yogurt. That is what actually was the primary occupation, because Krishna loved butter. And fortunately, unfortunately, depending on how you saw it, Krishna loved butter, but he also loved to steal butter. And he was a butter thief, and a very notorious butter thief. And so Mother Yashoda was always anxious because she wanted to make the best butter for Krishna. She had the most cows. She had 900,000 over cows. And each of the cow was the best cow. But despite having the best cow and getting the best milk and making the best butter, Krishna would still steal from other devotees' houses. So Mother Yashoda felt that morning that it was up to her to give the best butter to Krishna. So she started churning butter. And churning is laborious, Bhagavatam tells us, right? It requires effort, it requires strength, and it is tiring. But Mother Yashoda was not feeling the fatigue. As she was performing the service, she was actually chanting and remembering the pastimes of the Lord. And this is the mood of the gopis. Mother Yashoda is actually a gopi. She's elderly, but she's a gopi. And Mother Yashoda's mood was very simple. Grahe grahe gopavadhu kadambe sarve militva samavapya yogam punyani namani patanti nityam govinda damo dharmadaveti. So this was her mood. Her mood was that she wanted all the time, in any situation, to come together with the other gopis, and whenever they had spare time, they would only speak about Krishna. To speak about Krishna, one must think about Krishna. To think about Krishna, one must also develop some feelings for Krishna. So by being active for Krishna, thinking, feeling and willing are automatically taken care of. That is why Prabhupada decided that devotional service is not bhakti in the sense of just devotion. Devotional service must have the element of service. And one other thing Yashoda Mata showed us, that whatever service that she was supposed to do, only she did it. She did not outsource the service to other people. Sometimes what happens with us is, we take a service, then we say, Prabhu, you do two, you take 3, you do 5. In the name of preaching, then we say, Prabhu, I'm just trying to engage more people. You have to be engaged first. Right? We find a lot of devotees doing that. We have to catch them. If it's given to you, you do it. Because it's meant for your purification. Don't worry about other people's purification. That will come later. But you should do the service allotted to you. Very important. So Mother Yashoda did not outsource her service. She actually performed her service. And she labored. Granatascha swachestitam. Whenever we want to have Krishna appear in our heart, Krishna is attracted by our endeavor. And this endeavor is swa. It is your endeavor. Not somebody's endeavor for you, but your endeavor. And Mother Yashoda was perspiring. The sari that was tied very tightly was becoming loose. But she didn't mind. And she was very absorbed in Krishna's pastime. That's why Bhagavad Gita tells us, Yoga yukto vishuddhatma, vijitatma jitendriya, sarva bhutatma bhutatma, kurvan apina lipyate. Very beautiful verse from Bhagavad Gita. A pure soul works in devotion to the Lord. And because he's working in devotion for the Lord, he's dear to everyone. If Mother Yashoda was dearly loved by all gopis and everyone in Vrindavan, because her object of love was Krishna. So we don't have to worry about society even. The beauty of devotional service is, if you serve Krishna, everybody becomes pleased with us. That is the beauty of devotional service. And so, because she was doing devotional service with so much work, she took it as a duty. Mother Yashoda was not sentimental about churning butter. Sometimes in devotional service, we mix up the lines between sentimentality and devotion. Sometimes we feel that, if we are sentimental, it means we are ecstatic. But Prabhupada says, religion without philosophy is sentiment. And Krishna consciousness is not sentiment. We have to base our Krishna consciousness on solid philosophy. And Mother Yashoda was very intelligent, because whatever philosophy that she needed to know, even though she was not educated, she knew it because of her devotion. And so she perfected the art of duty. And therefore, kurvan api na lipyate. She was not touched by any effects of sinful reaction. Otherwise, every time we perform an activity, automatically there is sinful reaction. You can't run away from it. But the moment you are doing it in the mood of Mother Yashoda, kurvan api na lipyate, we are not touched at all. This is very important. So Mother Yashoda did it to the point where ye yata mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. Krishna reciprocated with her. He got up and he came out. He stopped her from continuing to churn, and he indicated to her that he wanted to be fed. So this part of the pastime is very important because it shows us that when a devotee performs devotional service in the right mood, in the right bhav, Krishna will reciprocate. He will always reciprocate. If he doesn't appear to reciprocate, the fault is not his. The fault is in our lacking in devotional service. Something is wrong in our mood. So instead of blaming other people, blaming the world, we reflect on our own actions actually. So Mother Yashoda became very happy and she stopped the churning. She did not continue the churning. She did not say, Krishna, wait, I have to continue churning. Sometimes what happens is we forget the object of our love is Krishna. And when Krishna has appeared before us, we continue doing other things. But that is not the point. The point is the moment Krishna comes, we drop everything for Krishna. And Mother Yashoda put Krishna on her lap, and she started feeding him from her own breast. And that milk that Mother Yashoda gave to Krishna was filled with devotion and affection. This is very important. You know, sometimes it is stated that whatever that we want to give, right, it is given in quality and it is given out of love if we actually feel love. If you give a present to someone but you hate the person, the present doesn't work. But if you give a nice present to a person and you mean it, then the person accepts the present but also accepts your love behind the present. It's very important. So Mother Yashoda gave milk filled with love and devotion to Krishna. And she was very happy and she was taking darshan of Krishna. Then what happened was the milk that she had put previously on the pot, in the stove, in the kitchen, was beginning to boil. And Mother Yashoda was placed in what Bhagavatam says is an awkward position. Devotees, Prabhupada writes in his purport, are always going to face awkward situations. Awkward situation means we are always put at junctions. Should I go right? Should I go left? I'm not sure. When a devotee is placed in an awkward situation, it appears to be a situation of reversal. But a devotee understands that situation is meant for us to increase our faith and remembrance of Krishna. So Mother Yashoda thought, should I save the milk which is meant for Krishna and put him down and risk him being upset? Or should I continue to feed him and lose the milk that was for him? So Mother Yashoda was ultimately guided by Krishna. And so she went to stop the pot from being boiled over. But Krishna decided that now I must exhibit a beautiful pastime of transcendental anger. And now you must remember that when Krishna takes the part of a boy or a little baby, then he plays the part very well. Babies are always known to be full of tantrums. Little children have tantrums. When they don't get something, have you seen them? They roll around, they beat this, they beat that, they scream and shout. Sometimes we ignore them, then after a while they become quiet, right? But Mother Yashoda thought, let me do this because I must save the pot. And when she went, Krishna became transcendently angry. Bhagavatam says his lips became very reddish, his eyes became reddish, he was very angry. And he thought, how can my mother put me down to save the milk? And so he thought, let me teach my mother a lesson. And so he took a stone and he broke the pot which Mother Yashoda was carefully collecting butter. And the moment he broke it, all the butter came out. Krishna may be very small, but he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Breaking a pot of milk is nothing for him. One stone was more than enough. And so the pot of milk overflowed and there was so much of butter. And so at that point of time, Krishna realized, now I should not stay. Because if I stay now, then Mother Yashoda will come and she'll be upset with me. So Krishna decided, let me leave the scene. And before he left, Bhagavatam tells us, he thought, why to leave without some benefit? Since the pot of milk has been broken, pot of butter is broken, let me take the butter. And after enjoying the butter, like a common thief, Bhagavatam says, he just ran into the insides of the house. Mother Yashoda has saved the milk, but when she came back, she saw the scene of the crime because the butter had spilt and the pot was broken. And so Mother Yashoda thought, who can do this except Krishna? Bhagavatam tells us, Prabhupada writes in Krishna book, Mother Yashoda should have been angry, but she was smiling. She was smiling because she thought, Krishna, this boy, is very mischievous, but he's also very intelligent. He knew if he stayed here, I would become very upset. But today I must stop this, because he has become transcendently extremely mischievous. And now he's growing up to become a delinquent, because he steals, now he breaks pots, so we have to do something about it. So Mother Yashoda took a stick, and in her heart she thought, let me take the stick to discipline him. She wasn't thinking of hurting him, but she thought, if I bring the stick, it'll be a deterrent, and therefore I will stop him. It was not difficult to know where Krishna went, because Mother Yashoda could see his footprints. That's why till today on Diwali days, many of us, we actually place footprints of Krishna coming into the house. That is coming from this pastime actually. In Padma Puran, this point of stepping is seen. You don't see it in Krishna book, but you see it in Padma Puran. So then as Mother Yashoda walked in, she walked right into the store. And the store must have been as big as this function hall, I think, because the description is the ceilings were very high. And they were high enough so that Krishna would not be able to catch the butter pots that were storing butter. But to Mother Yashoda's surprise, she saw a wonderful scene. The mortar was very high, and that was the mortar that was used to churn. And on top of that mortar, Krishna was seated there, and Balramji was also there, and all the monkeys of Vrindavan were there. And Mother Yashoda stood at the door. The stick was with her, but if you see the pictures, the stick is down, and she's watching in wonder. Why is she watching in wonder? Because Krishna, the thief, that he had stolen all the butter, but he was being very generous with what he had stolen. That's an irony, isn't it? When you steal something, you tend to keep it. But this is like a Robin Hood thief, He steals it and then he distributes it. So Krishna was doing big prasadam distribution, and he was giving it to the monkeys of Vrindavan. To Mother Yashoda, the sight was very simple and ordinary, because she knew that no other persons were as mischievous as Krishna, but his monkey friends and maybe the Gopas. So she was not surprised he was feeding the monkeys. But in the Puranas, it is stated that Krishna was not only feeding the monkeys, he was reciprocating with these monkeys who had earlier in Treta Yuga been the Vanaras who served him in his incarnation as Lord Ram. And when he came as Lord Ram then, these Vanaras led by Hanumanji, they did so much service to Krishna as Lord Ram. And when finally Ravana was vanquished, Lord Ram turned to the Vanaras and he gave them the benediction that whatever you ask from me, it will be given to you. But instead of asking for anything material, they only asked for one thing. They said, Krishna, Lord Ram, it doesn't matter. We don't want anything that you want. This is the same point that Vritasur says in the 6th canto also, right? Nana kaprishtam, na chaparameshtam, na sarva bhaumam, na rasadipatyam, na yoga siddhir apunar bhavam va, samanjasadva virahaya kamshe. Vritasur says in the prayer that I don't want to be Lord of the higher planets, lower planets, or even the earth planet. I don't want even to be the Lord of Dhruva Loka. I don't want siddhis, and I don't even want liberation from this material world. I don't want any of this if it prevents me from having an opportunity to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. This was the same mood of the Vanaras. The Vanaras said, don't give us anything, Lord Ram. Just give us a chance that again when you come back to rid this world of the evil like Ravana, you give us another opportunity to be able to serve you. And when Lord Ram heard that, he was so filled with love and gratitude that he said, so be it. When you come back, I will again be there with you, and again you will have the opportunity to be with me. The only deal, the only promise, or the only part of the promise that Lord Ram changed in Krishna Leela was that instead of the monkeys serving him in this part of the Leela, it is actually Krishna who was serving them. Because Krishna felt, the whole of my life as Lord Ram, you only served me, I did nothing for you all. At least in this Leela, let me feed you something at least. And so he fed the monkeys to his satisfaction, and the monkeys were fed to satisfaction. And then they saw Mother Yashoda. And when they saw Mother Yashoda, that was the end of their Leela. And they left very quickly. And Krishna did not see Mother Yashoda because his back was to the door. But he knew when the monkeys scrambled that they would never leave the best butter in the world unless there was something more terrifying than the butter. And that must have been his mother. So as he turned, Bhagavatam says, he saw his mother, that was fine, but he saw the stick, that was not fine. And so he jumped off the motor and Krishna started running. Mother Yashoda thought, he's very small, let him run, I will catch him. But the moment he came close enough to Krishna, Krishna would be a few feet away. And like this, hours passed in the day, and Mother Yashoda was trying to catch Krishna. Remember, this pastime started in the morning, right? But it ends in the evening. So how much running Mother Yashoda must be having? And the more she tried to catch Krishna, out of fear, Krishna was not laughing and running, he was running, but he was still fearful, and he was running. And Prabhupada writes in Krishna book that so many yogis, so many bhogis, so many tyagis, all great sages, they are all running after Krishna. Even the demons are running after Krishna. They want to kill Krishna, that's why they run after Krishna. But nobody can catch Krishna unless Krishna sanctions it. And therefore, Mother Yashoda was non-different actually from everyone else, because she was running after Krishna also. But she had one difference. Of all those who were running after Krishna, Mother Yashoda's love for Krishna was unconditional. And not only was her love unconditional, she was not proud that she could catch Krishna. She started by thinking, I'll catch Krishna. But after a while, she realized she could not. And when she realized the futility of trying to catch Krishna, in her heart, she started praying. She said, Krishna, please be merciful and please let me catch you. And then when Krishna heard that, he decided, let me be caught by my mother. So this is a very important point. Sometimes when we take up a spiritual activity, we are very confident that on our own strength we can perform it. But sometimes Krishna will test us and he will show us that our strength is not the only thing. Without the foundation of his sanction and blessing, we cannot get any success in any endeavor. So Mother Yashoda's endeavor was successful because of her humility. And this is an important pastime. I started today by talking about endeavor. When one sincerely endeavors for Krishna, he must endeavor on the basis of humility. If the endeavor is laced with pride, he cannot catch Krishna. So many demons like Kalayavana tried to catch Krishna, and they were running after Krishna, and they were running with pride. And because there was pride and false ego, Krishna was always elusive to them. But those who endeavor with humility, they can catch Krishna. And so Mother Yashoda, Krishna allowed himself to be caught by Mother Yashoda. But being caught and being bound are two different things, right? So when Mother Yashoda caught him, Krishna started displaying great fear. Bhagavatam tells us, surprisingly, of all things, Krishna was feeling fearful. Mother Kunti, she has a prayer in the first canto 8th chapter, I think 31st verse. She says the same thing. In that verse, it starts with Gopya Dade, right? In that verse, she says that I am so bewildered when I remember you, Krishna, because there was a pastime where Mother Yashoda actually caught you and you exhibited bhaya. You actually exhibited fear. And yet, fear personified is fearful of you. Yamaraj himself, the superintendent of death, bows before Krishna. The great demons are fearful of Krishna. And yet, Krishna, you displayed fear for an ordinary, very simple, middle-aged, uneducated Mother Yashoda. How is that possible? So she says, this scene is mohaya bibheti. It is bewildering to me. If it's bewildering to Mother Kunti, what will it be for us? And Srila Prabhupada writes in that purport of 1.8.31, he says that Mother Yashoda's love is the highest love that a mother can have for Krishna. And because her love was so great, Krishna exhibited fear that he would be disciplined by his mother. When Mother Yashoda saw the fear of Krishna, which was visible, the fear was visible because tears were coming down his eyes and they were actually smearing his kajal and mascara. His shark-shaped earrings were shaking, his body was shaking, and because there was so much jewelry, the jewelry was shaking. So Mother Yashoda decided, enough of this. With love in her heart, she decided, let me not discipline Krishna today. I just want to make him a bit scared, that's it, right? I'll spare the rod, but hopefully I won't spoil the child. So she put the stick down. And when she put the stick down, Mother Yashoda thought, let me bind him now. So she thought, Krishna cannot escape. He needs to be bound. So she took him to the mortar, which was nearby, and she said, Krishna, stand still. I'm going to tie you. And now don't move. So that was punishment for Krishna. Now the only problem was, Mother Yashoda had endeavored at the beginning of the morning. How did she endeavor? She endeavored by very, very meticulously churning. Then she endeavored by running and running and running after Krishna. She must have run miles within that space, because it took hours before she caught Krishna. And now for the third time in the day, and evening was coming already, she found she had to endeavor, because the rope that she brought to tie Krishna was 2 inches short, or 2 fingers short. And so she brought more rope. And again it was 2 fingers or 2 inches short. And she brought more rope. In Padma Puran, it is stated that actually while she was getting the rope, all the gopis started hearing about this. Word spreads very fast about Krishna. And they all came to the house, and they watched in amusement and amazement that how is it that this small boy, who's hardly very big, cannot be bound by the ropes of Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda took all the ropes, and again it was always 2 inches short. So for the third time in the day, Mother Yashoda became very, very tired. Very tired. And in her fatigue, she prayed to Krishna. Krishna, please allow me to bind you, because this is for your good. When Krishna heard that humility, that attention that she was giving to her endeavor, this is very important. When we endeavor for Krishna, our mind should not be running everywhere. Sometimes we are doing the service, but the mind is not there. As it happened before, it happens a lot to me also. I have to bring my mind back. I'm doing a service, but the mind is everywhere. I'm thinking what to do today, what didn't I do today, what I should do today. So attention to Krishna is so important. Twaime ananya vishaya, matir madhu patir asakrit, ratim udvahata adha, gange vauham mudanvati. In 1842 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Kunti Mata again says, Krishna, just like the water of the Ganges flows through whatever obstacles there are, but always, right, eventually frees herself and joins into the ocean. So too let my mind, matir, madhupati, asakrit, let the consciousness of my mind be not distracted by anything. Asakrit means continuously. Let my mind be continuously at your lotus feet. And if my mind, matir, madur, patir, asakrit, is attentive to you, then ratim udvahata adha. Ratim means attraction. One cannot become attracted to Krishna until one is attentive to Krishna. Sometimes we think as devotees, why we haven't had the taste to remember Krishna? Why can I sit through every day and not be attracted? Because we are not attentive. If we are really attentive to listening about Krishna, the transcendental sound vibrations will purify our heart and we will relish and taste. So therefore, an endeavor requires 2 components. It requires humility and it requires attention. If there's no humility and attention, this endeavor that we do may appear to be endeavor, but it will never bring ratihi, it will not bring taste to what we are doing. It's a very important point in devotional service. Mother Yashoda had that. She had the humility to say, Krishna, please help. And she was attentive in trying to tie. She tried very hard. She tried this way, that way, but she couldn't do it. And so Krishna decided, let me be bound. So Krishna was not bound by the ropes, finally. He was actually bound by the love of Mother Yashoda, by the devotion of Mother Yashoda. So therefore, we don't need anything physical to bind Krishna. We need our behavior to define Krishna, to bind Krishna. We need our endeavor to bind Krishna. Therefore, that will translate into love. And Krishna becomes bound. So Krishna became bound, and Mother Yashoda thought, finally, after a whole day has passed, let me get on with my chore. And she left him. But Krishna is Swarat. He is independent. He said to himself, my mother thinks that she has bound me, but she doesn't know that I cannot be bound. So let me now be unbound. So Krishna then started crawling. He crawled towards 2 trees at the back of his yard, known as the Yamal Arjuna trees. Very big trees, very old trees. They've been there for thousands of years. And he started crawling there. No one understood why, but Krishna crawled. As he crawled, the mota, which was vertical, turned and became horizontal and moved with him. And as he crawled between the tree, Krishna was very small, but the mota got stuck between the trunks of the tree. Krishna just pushed very hard, being Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the 2 trees crashed to reveal 2 beautiful celestial beings. Krishna asked them, who are you? And what is your story? And why are you here as trees? And they said, we are the proud sons of Kuvera, Manigriva and Haya, what are their names? Nalakuvera and Manigriva. Right? So Krishna then asked them, what is your history? How did you become trees? Prabhupada writes in Krishna book, Krishna of course knows their history, but if he didn't ask, we don't know, isn't it? So we have to know, and that's why Krishna asked. So then they said, we were very, very pious and devoted sons of Kuvera. Unfortunately, we became proud, and when pride comes, there is intoxication. Not just intoxication of pride, but in this case, really intoxication. Okay? So they were drinking all the time, and because in the intoxication, they were bathing, they had no clothes on, they lost all, in their inebriated state, they lost all sense of decency. And of all persons, Narada Muni appeared before them. When Narada Muni appeared before them, the ladies who were sporting in the lake had the decency to put on clothes. But these two gentlemen, who were not gentlemen anymore, came out completely naked, and they bowed before Narada in drunken stupor. Narada said, what is the point of you being human beings, or in human form, or in this form? What is the point of the human form if it is not used for self-realization? Better, I think, you two become trees, because trees don't wear clothes, and you don't seem to be interested to wear clothes, so leave it now. You don't have to be. So he said, I curse you to become two trees. Then through the haze and fog of intoxication, when they heard curse and they heard tree, then they woke up. And they said, Narada, please don't be so cruel to us. Give us some concession. And Narada said, I pray that because you are in such a pitiable condition, my prayer is that somehow or another, even though you are trees, one day the Supreme Lord will deliver you. It is stated in Bhagavatam that a great devotee's words and statements never prove false. When a sadhu speaks something, it is never false. It may look like it is false, but it will come to pass. Why? Because Krishna makes sure that it will become true. This happened a millennium ago from Krishna's pastime in the Damodar month. But Krishna never forgets any prayer of his pure devotee. And Krishna must have logged it somewhere and decided, let me also fulfill the statement of Narada. And so he did it in this pastime. And so Nalakuvera and Manigriva said, my Lord, Narada cursed us that we will take forms of trees, but we will become trees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. And years later, you will be delivered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so they bowed before him. And at that point of time, in a beautiful verse of 10:10:25 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna says something very nice. He said, Devarishi me priyatamo. He said, Narada, Devarishi, is very priya to me. He's an Atma, Priyatatma, so he's priyatamo. He's very, very dear to me. And because he's very dear to me, I will do one thing. Though you and I have nothing to do with each other, because you were just trees, but because of Narada's prayer, I will deliver both of you from the clutches of your material existence. I do it not because of my mercy, but I do it because of the mercy of the pure devotee. So Krishna is so honest that he declares that I'm not the one giving you mercy. It's Narada who prayed for you, and he is giving you mercy. And so Nalakuvera and Manigriva were delivered by Krishna, but the source of their deliverance is Narada. So the pastime is very beautiful. It ends that way. But the pastime shows us one important theme, the theme of endeavor. Mother Yashoda endeavored so much with humility and with, what's the other one? Attention. And therefore she attracted Krishna. The monkeys served Rama, Lord Ram, with so much endeavor, which was based on humility and attention. They were very attentive to whatever Lord Ram wanted. If Lord Ram told them in the night, build a bridge, so attentive were they. With so much attention, they built the bridge. They built it. They built it on the strength of Lord Ram's name. They would write Lord Ram's name on the rocks and throw it in. Or they would chant Rama and they would throw the rocks in. When Lord Ram came and saw how can rocks float, he was surprised. Then he watched how the monkeys were throwing it in. And he thought, let me pick it up and let me throw. And when he threw the rock sank into the water. And Lord Ram thought, what is this? I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rocks are not floating for me. And Hanumanji came very politely and told him, Lord, you have missed one thing. You didn't chant your name. We chanted your name. And when we chanted your name, the potency was to keep the rock afloat. But you did not chant your name. We have more faith in your name, O Lord, than you have faith in your name. This is the greatness of devotees. That's why it is stated, Aham bhakta paradino hi aswatantra ivadvija sadhubir grista hirdayo bhakte bhakta jana priyaha. My devotees, and even the devotees of my devotees, are very dear to me because I am not independent. I am not independent. I am completely dependent on my devotees. So Krishna was completely dependent on Mother Yashoda's love. And Mother Yashoda's love bound Krishna. And not only did Mother Yashoda's love bound Krishna, but the monkey's love years ago in Treta Yuga also bound Lord Ram and also bound Krishna. And Narada's love for Krishna bound not only Krishna at that time, but even further beyond, thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. One was Treta Yuga, one was a millennial ago, and then it is Yashoda. They were all bound. That's why we always say in this pastime, there are 3 ropes. One rope you see, and that is the rope that Yashoda Mata tied. But the other rope is between the monkeys and Krishna, and the last rope is between Narada and Krishna. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Ananta Kodi Vaishnavinda ki. Shri Shri Radha Vallabh ji ki. Are we ready to light lamps and offer them and sing Damodar Ashtakam? Can we do that? Very nice. So let us sing. If you don't know, then I hope you know that, I hope somebody can share it. Prabhu, I'm not sure if you have a PDF copy on your phone for your guests. If you do, that would be useful for them too. But now we should get ready. I think everything is organized. Let us chant Damodar Ashtakam. And this whole Damodar Ashtakam describes this entire wonderful pastime. So whatever we are singing is actually the Damodar Ashtakam. Let us sing. Namami Shwaharam Sachidanandarupam Lasakundalam Gokule Brajamanam Vishwaharam Sachidanandarupam Lasakundalam Gokule Brajamanam. Haribo. Yashoda Biyolu Kaladhava Mahalam Param Vrishtamadhyam Tato Drutya Gopyam. Udantam Muhurnetra Yugmam Vijantam Karamboja Yugme Nasatam Kanetram. Muhu Swasakampa Trirekha Kakanta Sthita Graivam Damodaram Bhaktiham. Iti Vritsvalila Kunde Swagosham Nimajam Tamakya Payantam. Jai Damodar Leela ki. Tadishitanyeshu गुणप्रेमहतस्तं सतावृत्ति वन्दे दामोदर जी की वरं देवा मोक्षं नाम मोक्षावधिं न चान्यं मृणेऽहं वरिष्यादपीहम् हरि हरि इदं ते वपूर्णात् गोपालबाल सदा मे मनस्या विरस्तां ते मन्ये जय बाल गोपाल की इदं ते मुखाम्बोजं मत्यन्तनीले कृतं कुन्तलै स्निग्ध रत्नैश्च भोक्याम् मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरकाधरं मे मनस्यामिरास्तम् अलं लक्षलाभे नमो देवा दामोदर अनंत विष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःख जलाभिमग्नम् जय दामोदर जी की कृपा दृष्टि वृष्याति दिनं मतानु ग्रहाणे क्षमामन्यमेधाक्षि दृशया हरि हरि कुबेरामदौबाद्धमुत्यैव वयामोचितौ भक्ति भजौ कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकं मे प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे ग्रहो मे स्थिदामोदरे प्रेम भक्ति की नमस्ते स्तुधाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिधाम्ने त्वदीयोदरायात विश्वस्य धाम्ने नमो राधिकायै त्वदीया प्रियाय नमो नन्दलीला यदेवाय तुभ्यम् श्रीमती राधा रानी की नमो राधिकायै त्वदीया प्रियाय नमो नन्दलीला यदेवाय तुभ्यम् Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. Jai Radha Vallabh Ji ki. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Holy Name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Jaya Yashoda Damodara, Yashoda Damodara, Yashoda Damodara, Yashoda Damodara. Jaya Yashoda Damodara. ki. Jaya Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar Shri Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Mahayajna ki, Vrindavan Bhumi Dham ki, Yashoda Damodar ji ki, Kartik Maas ki, Giri Govardhan ki, Ananta Gauri Vaishnavinda ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Gurudeva ki, Thai Gaura Premanande. Thank you very much to all devotees. Mataji, Monica Mataji, thank you so much. Prabhu, thank you so much for hosting us, and your family, of course. Thank you.
I'll give you one example of a Manigram Mantreva. Because everybody sitting on a sheet except me.
Oh, I didn't realize.
This matters for you.
No,
This is not acceptable.
No, you know why? I can't sit on this. It's a back problem. So it's not about humility. It's actually about it's a simple back problem, actually. Don't worry. I'm quite happy on my yoga block. That saves my back.
Prabhuji always comes as one-man army with his mic, with his all